Dear students, today we are going to learn a topic on education and economic development. For introduction, give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he will eat for a lifetime. This statement was said by Lao Tzu, an ancient Chinese philosopher and writer. The quote shows the real value of being equipped with certain skills, knowledge and attitude that we acquire through education from different sources, no matter formally, informally or non-formally, that tends to help us throughout our life. Education, in its true sense, is considered as one of the most influential factors of development, which is also called as the engine of growth. The belief that education is an engine to growth rests on the quality and quantity of education in any country. Every country, whether developed or developing, has the impact of their education and educated members in its developmental areas. In other way, it can be said that every country's development index in the light of social, cultural, technological and economic terms is dependent upon its education, which can be considered as the solution of most of the problems. Among the most common criteria for judging or evaluating a nation's development is presence of some economic and non-economic factors. Economic criteria are inclusive of per capita income, gross domestic product that is GDP, the level of industrialization, living standard of people, scientific and technological advancement and infrastructure. There are non-economic factors such as Human Development Index, which shows the level of and access to education, literacy level and provision of health services. These factors are basis of a nation's development. These two factors are interrelated to one another. If good education and health services are provided to the people of the country, it will surely rise to the level of development with high income, productivity and standards of living. Undoubtedly, education has a major role to play in social and economic progress of any nation and for improvement in the distribution of income. Following this view, it can be said that education plays an instrumental role in bringing economic development in the nation. These two are related to one another. Here, it is imperative to understand the two concepts, namely education and economic development and its relationship with one another. Concept of education and economic development. Education is the process of overall development of the child from all aspects including social, moral, intellectual, spiritual, aesthetic and emotional. It brings some changes in the behavior and attitude of learners through attainment of certain skills, attitude and knowledge. A quality education helps in bringing inner potentials of individuals into visible shape, where he or she becomes aware of his or her capabilities and caliber. Considering the importance of education, it is made a right of every individual as per the Article 26(1) of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Education is not only confined to the limits of classrooms and schools, but also gained through various experiences of everyday life. Supporting this perspective, it is said that an experience of life that results in learning is education. In the words of Lodge, whatever broadens our horizon, deepens our insights, refines our reactions and stimulates our thoughts and feelings, educates us. This education transforms a human being into a human capital with higher level of productivity and efficiency through the input of better education, health and moral values. The provision of formal education is found to be a productive investment in human capital which leads to the economic development. It is apt here to quote the statement given in NCERT B.Ed textbook 2014, which asserts that it is believed that education is not only an instrument of social change but also an investment in national development. Economic development of any nation is associated with the economic growth, that is, an increase in the level of output along with the improvement in social and political welfare of its people with good quality of life. Development is meant by economic growth that comes from high-scale employment, income and resultant appreciation in the quality of people's life. The World Bank in its 1991 World Development Report pointed out that the ultimate goal of development should be the complete enhancement of the quality of life people are living. In that report, economic development is defined as a sustainable increase in living standards that encompass material consumption, education, health, and environmental protection. Development in broader sense is understood to include other important and related attributes as well, notably more equality of opportunity and political freedom and civil liberties. The overall goal of development is therefore to increase the economic, political and civil rights of all people across gender, ethnic groups, religions, races, regions and countries. It is also mentioned that the most common feature of countries achieving rapid development in post-war period is their investment in education of men and women. Therefore, it is evident that growth and development of economy is always related to the quality of education people are getting and have access to. Now we have to see what's the relationship between education and economic development. The significant place of education in economic development was recognized in economics from the beginning of 20th century, especially with the writings of Adam Smith, the profound economist and writer of The Wealth of Nations. Since his time, economic theory has been increasingly conscious of the value of education in economic and social development. J.S. Mill also advocated public education for inculcation of prudence, economy and self-improvement. In order to understand the relationship between education and economic development, it is appropriate to quote Phil Pepper, who says, "The primary economic development tool for any country is the education level." Relationship of education and economic development, as mentioned in the report of Ministry of Education, New Zealand Government 2010, can be understood through 3 points as given in the following manner. First, basic human capital approach, where it is considered that education brings improvement in skills and abilities of the individuals for greater productivity and improvised abilities to optimally utilize the existing resources which can contribute to economic growth and development. Without any doubt, it is believed that the economic prosperity and functioning of a nation depend on its physical and human capital stock. Human capital theorists believe that an educated population is a productive population. The theory emphasizes on the importance of education in increasing the productivity and efficiency of people by increasing their level of cognitive stock of economically productive human capability, which is the result of individuals' innate abilities and investment on them. Further, it is added that the investment in human capital as propounded by Theodore W. Schultz in his presidential address of American Economic Association on investment in human capital, lead to rapid economic growth in society. Second point is, as per innovative approach, education improves the capacity of the economy for developing new ideas or technologies in the form of innovation. Innovation comes from innovative and skilled human capital. It can be viewed as a critical input for innovative researches and other developmental activities. According to this view, education is intentionally imparted for increasing the resources required to create new ideas. Thus, any increase in education will directly accelerate technological progress. Third, transfer of new knowledge and ideas is also possible through education. Here, it means the practical application of new knowledge gained through education. In the words of Lewis, it is not enough that knowledge should grow. It should also be diffused and applied in practice. Growth of an economy is promoted through spreading of knowledge and application of new technologies, processes and products. Hence, continuous supply of high-level skilled people with technical, professional, vocational education is one of the essential elements envisaged in the model of economic growth and development. This development is not possible without investment in human capital. The researches on productivity of education have explicated the relation between human capital and development. In the words of Ilhan, education enriches people's understanding of themselves and world. It improves the quality of their lives and leads to broad social benefits to individuals and society. Education raises people's productivity and creativity and promotes entrepreneurship and technological advances. The quality of education has a great impact on income of individual and growth of economy. Education equips the individual with certain skills and capabilities which are essential for development of a nation's economy. According to the World Bank report 2007, there is strong evidence that the cognitive skills of the population rather than mere school enrollment are powerfully related to individual earnings, to the distribution of income and to economic growth. Adding to this, Kamath stated, education is elevated to the position of prime mover of economic development and social change. Now let's see whether education is an investment or consumption. Before knowing whether education is an investment or consumption, it is imperative to be acquainted with the meaning of both terms. In economic sense, investment denotes purchase of goods which are used for wealth in future. It is any mechanism used for generating future income. If done in durable goods, it tends to bring more profit and returns. In this way, education is an investment which brings more profit and returns in future. J.K. Galbraith considered education as investment. He declared, "A dollar or rupee invested in the intellectual improvement of human beings will regularly bring a greater increase in national income than a dollar or a rupee devoted to railways, dams, machine tools or other tangible capital goods." According to human capital framework, it is viewed as investment as it entails costs in the present and increases productivity and income in future. In other words, it involves certain costs for a rather short period that yields monetary or non-monetary benefits for much longer period. There are economists who see education as consumption good and have discussed about the consumption value of education. Consumption is an act of buying and using the product for getting benefits in present, unlike investment which is incurred now for future benefits. When education is valued only for the sake of getting degree, it becomes consumption. When learning is merely for pleasure or satisfaction without any economic motives, it can be viewed as consumption. But education has both consumption as well as investment value, which cannot be denied by anyone. In the same context, Schultz says, although education is in some measure a consumption activity rendering satisfaction to the person who receives an education, it is predominantly an economic activity undertaken for the purpose of acquiring capabilities that render future satisfactions or that enhances the future earnings of the person as a productive agent. After looking at both views, it is clear that education is both investment as well as consumption. The activities of an educated person, such as enjoying non-monetary benefits like reading novels, enjoying higher status, etc., are activities of consumption, and the monetary benefits obtained from earnings or income are seen as investment. To conclude, it can be stated that education is an important tool of economic development. An educated person grasps new information quickly and tries to apply new and unfamiliar inputs and processes more effectively, which results in better productivity and efficiency. In a dynamic and uncertain environment of technological and scientific advancement, more highly educated workers have a big advantage in the terms of getting high income, producing more quality goods, and becoming more efficient in economic activities. These are the outcomes of quality education. Education undoubtedly helps in painting the new picture of society in a more sustainable way. The investment in education is of high importance, which leads to more developed economy, resulting in development of a nation.